Hello and welcome to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. I am your host, Kaylin John Louis, and it is my honor to be on the air with you all today. Just a friendly reminder to make sure you are continuing to be safe when you are around other people. Make sure that you are taking safety precautions, and of course, please get certain vaccinations if you feel sick or unwell. Want to make sure that you keep your safety up even as we are still in those wintry/cold and cough season, and you just never know. So please be safe. Before I go any further, I encourage you right now to download the Hallelujah 95.3 app so that you can listen to the show on the go on your electronic devices. Also, make sure you tag a friend and have them listen into today's upcoming discussion, because I believe it is going to be very important and you're going to hear some new information that is coming out. Just to get right into it, as you know, the Alzheimer's Association is very near and dear to my heart. I always consistently am making sure that I support those efforts. And even with Kaylin's Caring Connection, every year we have participated in the Alzheimer's Walk to raise awareness for the cause and walk for my grandmother and late great-grandmother who have Alzheimer's disease. But there is an upcoming event that it will be happening, the 2023 Alzheimer's Rally and Tally. And I am just so stoked to have the opportunity of having one of the directors, the people with Alzheimer's Association, to talk about it with me today. So just to give you some information about her name is Miss Jennifer Braisted, and she is the Director of Government Affairs for the Alzheimer's Association, State of Florida. She has been with the Alzheimer's Association since 2015, and in her position, she works with state legislators and state agencies to advance Alzheimer's policies. Ms. Braisted also works to research and develop policy solutions to create a dementia-capable state that helps the 580,000 Floridians living with Alzheimer's and their caregivers. She currently serves as the co-chair of the State Health Improvement Plan Priority Area, Alzheimer's Disease and Related Dementias. Ms. Braisted also serves as an advisory board member for the Area Agency on Aging Palm Beach/Treasure Coast. Prior to working for the Alzheimer's Association, she worked as a political consultant and began her career working on Capitol Hill. I am honored and stoked again to have her on today. Welcome to the show, Ms. Braisted.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here with you and to discuss our upcoming Alzheimer's Rally and Tally.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on. And since you mentioned it, go ahead and kind of tell the audience what this event is about and what they can look for in the 2023 Alzheimer's Rally and Tally.
Sure. So this is our annual state advocacy event. It is where Floridians from all across the state. We have people coming from the Panhandle, and we have families coming from the Keys and Key Largo to our capital here in Tallahassee to advocate and share their story and raise awareness for Alzheimer's disease. Here in Florida, we have the second highest prevalence of Alzheimer's, with over 580,000 Floridians living with a diagnosis of the disease. We know we have over 820,000 people who are providing unpaid care, and those numbers are expected to rise significantly in the next few years. We're looking at over a projected 24% increase. So it's so vital that our elected officials know that this is an issue that is near and dear in the hearts of so many. And so this is a 2-day event. We kick it off by lighting the Capitol purple. This is a great opportunity for people to come out to the steps of the historical Capitol to, meet their fellow advocates and really learn more about this event. And then the next day, advocates have the opportunity to meet with their elected officials and really share their stories and also advocate for priorities that we're working on this year.
That's really cool. I mean, to have an event where it is not only about simply sharing information about Alzheimer's and its effect on the many citizens in Florida, but also to raise awareness for those who are dealing with or battling the disease and for the caregivers that are behind it. As I stated earlier, I myself am a youth caregiver for my grandmother. And so to hear that there are events like this, there are causes or there are different people like you and just everyone involved who are really pushing legislation and are out there willing to advocate and fight for the rights of those that we are taking care of and ourselves. It's just awesome. I'm glad to know that there are people out there who do that. And I mean, you said that there will be some directors, but I'm also wondering, are youth involved or allowed to be a part of this Alzheimer's rally and tally?
That's a great question. And so our advocates span all ages. So we have current caregivers, we have former caregivers, we have individuals living with the disease. We have healthcare professionals who are just really passionate about this cause. We actually have currently registered some students who are currently in high school, and we're able to get excused to be able to attend. In the past, we've had 10 and 12-year-olds attend. So it is certainly open to our youth. I think it's, with all the work that you've done, you know how critical it is to have that youth voice. So many times there is that misunderstanding that Alzheimer's is just a disease that affects our senior population, and nothing could be further from the truth, because we know that Alzheimer's is a disease that affects the whole entire family and, has so many repercussions for our youth, and so many of them, like yourself, are youth caregivers, and so their voice certainly needs to be heard as well. So we are always looking for youth advocates, whether it's to attend our rally and tally or just to work on our advocacy efforts year round. All voices are wanted.
I love that. I'm glad that there's an opportunity just for youth to get involved. And I like that you mentioned that a lot of times too, a lot of people think about Alzheimer's and they forget that yes, youth can be involved too. Yes, it can affect, and that is so important. That's why I've continued to push as well to let people know, like, hey, yes, it is a thing. Alzheimer's does affect, and there are some youth who are out there having to care for their sick or disabled loved ones, especially due to Alzheimer's disease. So if you're a youth who's listening or you're a parent who's listening that may have a child and are wanting to get involved in something in the community, allow them to look at this event, the 2023 Alzheimer's Rally and Tally, because it's an opportunity for them to learn more about another demographic that they're not used to. It's just another opportunity for exposure. And I look forward to just seeing all that'll come of it. My mom's told me a lot and I've heard about it, but just to really be able to see. I'm looking forward and hoping that I can be out there to really go on and see what this is about. And since we're talking about that, I also have another question. I know you're mentioning that this event, you have advocates that range, but is this event open to everyone or is it just for people living with Alzheimer's and their caregivers?
So that's a great question. And so it really is. I mean, if anyone cares about this cause and wants to get involved and they have a perspective and they have a voice, they are open. Most of the people who are registering, of course, have been deeply, deeply impacted by this disease, whether they're living with Alzheimer's or they are caring for someone or they've cared for them. But if you have a friend and you've seen their journey, or you have a neighbor, and everyone has a unique perspective. So it's certainly open. I think a great opportunity is to, if you live in the Tallahassee area, to come to the lighting. That's a great opportunity to network and meet these advocates, understand what we're doing, and really learn more about the Alzheimer's cause. So I think it's a great opportunity for networking and connection, but also education as well.
That's right. That's right. And I'm glad that that's out there. I mean, education and advocacy are really the important key factors when it comes to educating anybody about anything. especially when it comes to Alzheimer's, because a lot of people hear about it. They think of it just, oh, you lose your memory or you start to forget little things, but it affects so much. And the more you learn, the more you can see why people push for certain legislation or push for certain things to make sure that those living with dementia and their caregivers are cared for is very important. And I said legislation, that's another thing. I know that there are certain bills that go up before the legislature every year. And I know that some of these key initiatives, some of them have to do with Alzheimer's and pushing to make sure that those living with it can be better off. So, would you share some of those key initiatives that are being pushed through the legislative session for 2023?
Absolutely. So we do have, some legislation and funding requests that we are going to be advocating for. So first is going to be legislation that will actually establish dementia training standards for long-term care providers. There are some training requirements within the state of Florida currently, but there are some gaps in care. So this legislation would ensure that there's baseline standards across the continuum of long-term care providers, because a majority of individuals who are living with Alzheimer's are going to utilize some form of long-term care throughout their journey, whether that's adult daycare, home health, or living in an assisted living or a skilled nursing facility. So we want to ensure that, caregivers feel peace of mind when they need to utilize these services, and that the direct care workers who are providing that everyday care and really shaping the lives of individuals living with dementia are equipped to provide that quality care and have the training and resources that they need. So that's going to be one of our big priorities for this session. We're also looking at, receiving funding for certain things. So we have at the Alzheimer's Association an initiative called the Brain Bus. This is a mobile and virtual outreach program. And so we have 2 buses that go across the state, and they go to underserved communities and provide education, information, and resources, not only on the warning signs of Alzheimer's disease, but the importance of brain health and risk reduction strategies and things that you can do to help decrease your chance of developing a form of dementia or Alzheimer's. And so that is something we're asking for continued funding for that. We were able to get state funding for, it's been 4 years now, to take that initiative statewide. And we've actually been able to hit every county within the state of Florida. So doing incredible work. So really are advocating for funding to continue that. We also are going to be advocating for funding for a statewide public awareness campaign on the warning signs of Alzheimer's disease, and again, risk reduction, and also the availability of clinical trials. And so we're hoping that through this, the Department of Health would be able to do a public awareness campaign that would talk about these warning signs, be available in different mediums, whether it's television, radio, billboard, all of these different platforms that people can access, and doing it in different languages as well. Because we want to make sure that people feel comfortable and understand the warning signs and are going to their doctors if they have concerns about their cognition, so they could be diagnosed early or, have some form of intervention that could step in. And then we always advocate for funding for some state revenue programs for home and community-based services to ensure that caregivers can have access to respite. That is so critical. We know that the stress of caregiving, and caregivers need that opportunity to be able to have time to, one, take care of their own health and do things that they need to do, whether it's going to work, going to doctor's appointments, whatever they need to do. We want to make sure that their loved ones are able to either go to an adult daycare or have someone come into the home to be able to provide services. So we advocate for continued and increased funding for that, because there are wait lists in the state. And so we're working to tackle that as best we can.
Sounds like you all are tackling a lot. And I mean, just hearing that brings such a great smile, because I mean, It does take a lot. I mean, it's important that one, people get education about Alzheimer's because, like I said earlier, there's these certain myths or things that they hear, but they don't really recognize how much of a change the disease actually can bring onto your brain and like completely change your outlook on life and how you and your family operate. And knowing that you all are pushing for legislation, especially when it comes to training, I think that is very important. When I started my caregiving journey with my mom, she did a lot of the research. She was the one who was getting into the Alzheimer's Association's links and really understanding what type of care my grandmother needed, or if she was in another stage that she could look up information on how do I deal with this and this aspect. And so knowing that after she shared some of that information with me and me being able to learn there are different ways about going about dealing with certain situations, I just know education is important. And then training is also important too, because as many people know, those living with Alzheimer's, yes, you can help, you can sit with them. You may have people that come over, but there's certain amount of training that I believe is needed for just the typical care for someone. It's like if you had someone, right, that was just your loved one and you wanted them to get that awesome love and care that you would want to give them, but you can't at certain moments because life happens. It's important that people get that training. And it's really important to me to know that my grandmother's needs will be taken care of, that those who may come over are trained, know the right procedures if something were to happen, or if she's in a frantic mode or
Right.
disoriented mode, that they know the proper tips to deal with that. And I just believe that that training is important. I also believe education is important. I believe that advocacy, kind of what we're doing right now, even talking about this rally and all that may come of it, advocacy is really important because if you, I always like to say that if you share your story and you tell other people about it, they may not understand exactly what you're going through, but they can find ways of looking at it from a different way, whether that's them asking, how can I help you? Or is there something I can do to make this process easier for you? And so, like I said, I'm happy that you all are pushing for this legislation, especially when it comes to people living with dementia and their caregivers.
Absolutely. And you really hit it so well when you're talking about with someone coming in and knowing how to de-escalate a situation, knowing effective communication strategies and behaviors. It's just so critical, and it honestly just helps expand that quality of care and really equips and motivates direct care workers to do their best when caring for these wonderful individuals who are going through Alzheimer's or another form of dementia where, like you said, their whole state of mind could be completely altered.
Right. That is very true. It takes a lot. Alzheimer's is definitely, the word they use is a progressive disease, and just like it will progress with the person living with it, it causes your life to progress too when you're the caregiver because you never know what could happen, when it may happen. It's a journey, and I wouldn't trade my journey for the world. But I also know that even in those moments where it's challenging, the thing that I've been able to cling on, and I know my mom's been able to cling on to, is the education side, is being able to read the facts. Hey, this is what will happen, but this is what you can do to help. So this legislation is definitely important. And I know that this legislation is being pushed here in Tallahassee. The rally will happen here, but are there ways that, say, listeners right now could even push for this legislation, even if they aren't a part of the rally or don't attend?
So there's certainly definitely ways for them to get involved if they're not able to make the rally or don't live in Tallahassee. So you can always contact me. I know my email's there. I also am on Twitter. I am ALZ Advocate Jen. You can go online to alzimpact.org/volunteer, and that'll share opportunities. What we do is throughout the session while this bill is moving, sometimes we do what we call action alerts, where someone could get a text message notification on this bill specifically, asking them to reach out to their elected official. So we have those, action alerts that are very quick and easy to do, but we also are engaging with officials, whether on the federal or state level, year round in your local area. So there's plenty of opportunities. If you're passionate about this cause and really want to make your voice heard, there's many, many ways that you can get involved. So please feel free to reach out, and we can definitely, also another great tool is social media. If you are a big fan of Twitter, for instance, you can actually tweet at your elected official and give their message, share your story, talk about why this is important to you. That's such an effective tool, and it's been, we've even seen a greater rise since the pandemic. And we know that elected officials many times will actually look at their phone themselves and they'll see that engagement. So sometimes that could be more effective than, say, a phone call or an email. So I think especially coming from that youth perspective, there's so much in social media that we can utilize for advocacy efforts.
I agree. Something as simple as sharing this video right here, or being able to hear. If you're listening, go ahead and share it with somebody. You may not know what it is, but let me go ahead and tell you again, this is the 2023 Alzheimer's Rally. I believe it's happening on it's February 7th through the 8th, right? If you're in Tallahassee and you want to get involved, come on out. And if you would like to register for it, you can text Rally 2023 to 52886. Again, text Rally 2023 to 5866, I believe. Yep. 52886. There we go. And if you want to get in contact with Miss Jennifer, I'm going to let her say the ways that you can get with her again, so that you know to how to get in contact with her, how to reach her, and how to just get more information about the rally and Alzheimer's.
Absolutely. So my email address is jbraisted@alz.org. I'll say that again. It's jbraisted@alz.org. And if you're on Twitter, you can message me. I'm at Alls Advocate Jen. So that's Alls Advocate Jen. So I'd love for you to reach out. You can also visit our website. It's allsimpact.org/volunteer if you want to learn about all the different advocacy volunteer opportunities. But would love for you to reach out. Love to answer any questions and talk about different opportunities that are available.
That is awesome. Make sure you get connected. And I know I always say that even when it comes to Alzheimer's, dementia, and trying to navigate different ways, like I said, it really is about talking about it, showing other people what it means, and being able to just really put out there the information. A lot of times, especially right now, and like the climate of our world, there are a lot of people who are starting to see Alzheimer's be more prevalent. Unfortunately, there is not a cure right now for the disease, but more people are starting to see, oh, it's not just affecting people I know. I may have somebody in my family down the line who's dealing with the early stages of it. Or you may know somebody who's dealing with someone who has Alzheimer's, or someone who's caring for someone who has Alzheimer's. It's really becoming a prevalent disease that is affecting a lot of different Americans, people around the world. It really is. And I think that we as a people need to do more to be educated about this disease, how it can affect you. And even when it comes to the caregiver aspect, I really believe that people who aren't caregivers, they have a lot of times trying to ask, how can I be of assistance to you? Or how can I be of assistance to someone caring for someone with dementia? I really believe that if they get educated, they learn about the disease, they can find ways. Even if you're listening right now and you're like, I never knew how much this disease could impact somebody, it's something as simple as supporting an initiative like this, or supporting an event that really helps the Alzheimer's community, helps everyone who is living with it or caring for someone who is living with it, really be able to see change happen. Just like we push for different things to happen for us socially, or we post for different things to happen for us personally, I believe that right now, if you're listening, tell somebody about this, the 2023 Alzheimer's Rally and Tally. It's pushing for legislation to help others who are dealing with a lot. Alzheimer's, the journey itself is not easy. There are definitely challenging times, and getting necessary training, getting necessary procedures in place so that when people are going through these difficult situations where, because there are a lot of people, there's of course that elephant or that thing in their room where a lot of people don't want to take their loved ones to facilities or to assisted living homes because of negative training or not having the proper workers who know exactly what to do, who act irrationally. And I feel like, as you stated earlier, the more that training gets out, the more that it is pushed for training to be mandated, the more people may start to feel comfortable that, hey, if I put someone that I love in a facility, they won't feel upset. I can have trust that they'll be okay when I get back and that nothing will happen. So I really, really believe this is important to share. I want you to kind of, as we get ready to wrap up, kind of share with the audience why you believe it's important for people to attend this event and just why you believe it's important for people to learn more about Alzheimer's dementia.
Sure. So I think that it's just all about, really raising awareness and having a better understanding yourself. I know you mentioned earlier, some people think, oh, it's just a memory disease, or you might forget some things. For those who have experienced this, it's so much more than that. And you really don't understand the realities of this disease until you have personally been affected and you yourself have been in the trenches. And so I think that this is a really great opportunity. One, if you have been through this journey or going through this journey, to know that you're not alone. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Advocacy, when you get to meet fellow advocates and you get to talk to them and you say, hey, I went through something very similar, or I thought I was alone and you're going through something similar. We can go through this journey together. So there's so much friendship and camaraderie that comes with that. And then for those who haven't been affected, hearing people's stories. These are humans. These are your neighbors. These are your friends. And they are going through something and they need people to listen to them and hear their stories. And so I think that could really help, people who don't have an understanding of this disease, help them learn more, have them be more engaged in the cause. Really, again, it's that education and really educating and creating empathy too, making sure that we're being an empathetic society and supporting our friends and our neighbors. So I think that's really just vital. So, I think everybody has a place to belong. I think a great place is to come out on the 7th to our lighting ceremony at the Capitol. It's a perfect way to learn more. And then you can always get involved in our advocacy efforts in many different ways.
Yep. Get involved. If you're not doing something, you're hearing about it right now on the 7th and 8th. Be out there at the Capitol. They're going to light it. It's going to be purple. I have never been able to see it before, so I'm looking forward to it because and if you're wondering why it's being lit for purple, it's for Alzheimer's. That's the color of the ribbon to kind of raise awareness and show respect to it. So get out there. If you want to learn more information, if you're looking simply just for a cause to get involved in, or you just are curious and you want to get educated, come on out to the event. I encourage you to, as she stated earlier, their advocates range in ages and everything. So you don't have to worry, am I too young to be going to this or am I too old? Just come on out, simply get involved and know that this is meant for, it's something bigger than you. It's something that's going to help you get to that next level. So make sure that you are out there. Is there anything else you would like to tell the audience, Ms. Braisted?
No, I just thank everyone for their time, and please consider getting involved. You can come out February 7th to the Capitol. We'd love to see you there. It's a great way to get involved. But if not, you can reach out on Twitter or get involved in our efforts. But, just make sure your voice is being heard and that, you're just continuing to raise awareness and know that your voice matters, and you can meet individuals who are going through a similar journey as you. So you're not alone.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for listening. I think this show was truly awesome. I feel like a lot of people here, even if you don't know what's going on, you learned something new today. And that is all that matters. My whole goal and my whole purpose, like I said, is to continue putting out different important events to me out to the world so that they can hear this is what's going on. And if you're looking for ways to get involved in your community, I always put them out there because I want you to know. But before I leave, I ask that you hashtag connect with me on my social media platforms. You can go to YouTube by subscribing to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin YouTube channel and turning on your post notifications. You can follow me on Instagram at Kaylin Cares 15. Follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn at Kaylin's Caring Connection. And by all means, go to the website at www.kaylinscaringconnection.com to find out more about Kaylin's Caring Connection and the Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. Thank you again for tuning in today. I appreciate your support and hope that you enjoy these empowering conversations. Always know that I care about you. And if no one has told you today, know that I love you. Thank you for listening and catch me on the next KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. Bye-bye.